Hello, sixth grade scientists. So today what we're going to do is we're going to play around a little bit with density. We're going to make a 7-layer density burrito or salad, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so first of all, we need to review what is density. Well, density is how tightly packed an object's atoms are. So however tightly packed they are, that will determine its density. So if you think back to the water and the ice that we had, so we had water in a cup and we had the ice cubes floating on the top. And we started thinking about that. Well, why would the ice cubes, they're both a form of water, so why would the ice be less dense and float on the top of the water? Well, it's because we know that solids, we've learned this since like 3rd grade, that solids atoms are more tightly packed, and that's what makes it a solid. And remember, the opposite would be gas, the hyperatoms moving all around. And then liquid would be somewhere in between. They're a little more fluid, but not tightly packed like a solid. And so that's what makes it less dense. Okay, so we also remember that the formula for density is mass divided by volume. So today we've got some common household things that you would find either in your kitchen or in your garage. And what we're going to do is we're going to layer them to show the density of each item. All right, so we're going to start off, and I'm going to start off by telling you what things I've chosen. And I've taken just a vase from Meijer, and I'm just going to pour the stuff in there at different times and in different ways to show the density of each one and how they compare to one another. All right, so I've got honey, I've got corn syrup, and I did put food coloring in the corn syrup so it would be easier to distinguish. I've got dish soap, and I use Blue Dawn dish soap. I've got just plain water from the tap, vegetable oil, rubbing alcohol, which I also put food coloring in, and lamp oil. Now the lamp oil is something that you would put like in a tiki torch to put out back to light up. Sometimes you'll get a citronella lamp oil, and that'll help keep mosquitoes away. So this is just plain lamp oil from Meijer. Okay, so I'm going to start off, and I'm going to pour the honey in. The honey's going to be first, and I'm going to pour the honey in. And the honey I don't have to do anything special to. I just go ahead and stack it on in there. The only thing that I want to remember when I'm pouring the honey in is I don't want to get the honey on the sides of the container. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. And all right, so now I've got layer 1 of my 7-layer density salad. All right, so next up is the corn syrup. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and again, I don't want to get that on the sides. Pour that in the center of the honey. All right, so I've got the corn syrup in there, and I'm starting to see, now the corn syrup didn't go all the way down to the bottom. The corn syrup is kind of hovering there. Okay, so my next layer is going to be my dish soap. Now the dish soap, that's the first time when I have to start pouring a little bit slower than I did for the others. And again, I don't want it to touch the sides because dish soap is sticky. And I'm going to pour it towards the center of the corn syrup. And I'm going to watch what happens. And I'm noticing that not surprisingly, the dish soap is bubbling. All right, I don't want it to touch the sides. Okay, so I've got 3 layers. So I'm going to pick this up and see. I'm starting to see the separation between these. Actually, I'm seeing a good separation between these. So I've got 3 layers of my 7-layer salad. And the next layer, I'm going to have to use a turkey baster. And I'm going to place the turkey baster on the side and slowly eke that in. So I'm going to take my turkey baster and fill it up. Take it over here to the side and dribble this in slowly so that I can see I'll begin to see the layering of the water. So right now, I've noticed that the honey is staying at the bottom. So far, the honey is the most dense thing that I've put into my layer salad, my density layer salad. So the corn syrup is next on the layer. So that would be the next dense thing that I've put in there. And then the dish soap. Now we'll have to see what happens with the water. Now, when I was looking at these to begin with, my guess would be that the water would go to the top because a lot of things float in water, and we actually use water as a buoyancy test to tell whether things are floatable or sinkable. And so I was thinking when I first started this that the water would be the least dense. So we'll see if the water goes to the top. Now I haven't tried this before, so this is the first time I'm trying it. I'm trying it with you guys for the first time. So we'll have to see how this works. And you're noticing that I'm just trickling this in slowly so that the layering can occur, or the least dense will rise. And if my theory is true, the water will form a layer on top of the dish soap. And then after I put in the vegetable oil, it'll actually layer on top of the vegetable oil, if I'm right, if it is the least dense. Okay, we have a little more water to put in. All right. And again, I'm going to put it right here. I don't want to put it in too quickly. Now, if you try this at home and you're using a turkey baster, make sure that you ask your parents first, because once we get up here to the rubbing alcohol and the lamp oil, you're still going to need the turkey baster. And if you're having turkey for Easter, I don't want you to ruin the turkey baster. So get parent permission. I went out and bought this one, so I wouldn't be using the one from my oh wow, look, it's already layered. Look at that, I've got 4 layers. All right, next up on our recipe for our layer salad is the vegetable oil. And again, I'm going to use my turkey baster. And again, I'm going to have to layer it in slowly. So I'm going to put it to the edge and start layering it in slowly. So remember, we're going to look and see in between, after we get the vegetable oil in here, and see if the water rose above the vegetable oil. Because if my theory is true, then it should be above the vegetable oil. Okay. But I do know some things about oil and water. I've always heard oil and water do not mix. So I know they won't mix. Okay. This seems to want to fall out of the turkey baster, so you need to watch out. If you do this at home, you might want to put something down on the surface. And also, when you're pouring the lamp oil, make sure that you don't have it on carpet, because you don't want to make a mess on the carpet. This lab will require parental help if you try this at home. All right, a little bit more of the vegetable oil. Then in between the vegetable oil and the rubbing alcohol, I'm going to have to clean out the turkey baster because I don't want the vegetable oil, some of the vegetable oil, to still be in there, because I think it will skew my results. So I've got this container here to use to clean this out, and I'm hoping I'll be able to clean it out good enough to get all of the oil out. Okay, so now I'm going to clean this out. I just used an old cheese ball container. If you remember, this is the same cheese ball container I used for the density lab last week. All right, so let's take a look and see what's happening so far. Now I've noticed that the oil has stayed on top of the water. So my theory was not true. The water actually is more dense than the vegetable oil. All right, I think I have this cleaned out good enough to go ahead and go on to the rubbing alcohol. Now the rubbing alcohol, it's going to be kind of difficult. I'm going to have to see if it starts slipping out of this thing. I may have to put my finger on it. There. And I know I'm going to have to with the lamp oil. The lamp oil is really slippery. It'll slip right out of there. Okay, so I've got the rubbing alcohol going in. And again, if you notice, I'm putting that in really slowly so that I can see the layering. And you'll notice too that I added food coloring to some of these, just so that you could see the layers a little easier. It makes the layers a lot more evident. Now another thing too, I used an old table so that if some of the food coloring got on the table, it wouldn't really matter. So if you have a plastic tablecloth, that might be a good thing to put down if you try this at home. All right, one more scoop, I think, of this rubbing alcohol. Whoops. Pardon me when I make a mess. Oh well, it's my house, right? Huh. Okay, just about done with this layer, and then we'll take a look before we put in the lamp oil. All right, and I'm going to have to clean this out again. So let's take a look. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers so far. Look at that. Wow, you can really see the difference. You can really tell that that honey is a whole lot more dense than the rest of those. So, you know, it would be interesting to just take just a cup, and put corn syrup and water and honey in it and see if it layers out like this too. All right, that's for another day. All right, need to clean out the rubbing alcohol. And when I clean my turkey baster, now you notice the water only goes up so far, so I might want to go ahead and turn it, just kind of swish it around to make sure that I'm cleaning it as good as I can. I guess the ideal would be, and I don't have that luxury because I don't have a sink in here, the ideal would be to take it to your sink and put warm water in it and clean it out that way. And even with this, soap and water probably would be the best, and then dry it. But I don't have a sink in here, and I'm not going to leave you guys long enough for me to go and clean this thing out. All right, so I think we're good now. So the lamp oil is very thin, and so when I get this into the turkey baster, I'm going to have to put my finger here to get it over, and then it's going to just start slipping out. Now the lamp oil smells a little bit, it's a little stinky, so afterwards you're going to need to wash your hands. Okay. Now I notice when I'm looking down this way, the lamp oil is kind of going down, but it seems to be going quickly back up then. So we're almost done with our density salad. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like at the end. Yeah, I'm barely pushing on this turkey baster. It's just so thin that this is just slipping right out. All right, let's take a look at our density salad. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I probably shouldn't have used yellow or the orangey one in the rubbing alcohol to show a little more of the difference. But do you see how each layer we go from the most dense to the least dense? So I have them in order here. So the honey was the most dense, and it stayed at the bottom, and the lamp oil was the least dense. Now, you know, it's kind of interesting to me because the water, to me, would be least dense. but that wasn't true. So I hope you enjoyed this lab today and just playing around with density. If you try this at home, please take a picture and send it to me, and I will upload it on my gallery of work. If you draw any pictures with ArtHub, or you have any work that you did that you're really proud of, send me a picture of it and let me know that you want it uploaded to the gallery of work. Don't put your name on it, and I can upload it and we can share it with everybody else. So if you try any experiments and you want to take a picture, then I want you to send it to me. All right? All right. Have a great Easter weekend, and see you on Monday. Keep watching, stay curious, and keep learning. Bye.